Like, I'm imagining sending this to Shayla a year ago, who was 2 months away from her due date with the toddler, sobbing with the husband, just going, oh, there's gonna be two soon. What am I gonna do? Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I talk about motherhood, I talk about pregnancy. We do things pretty natural, pretty granola, a little hippie, floor bleds, cloth diapering, nursing on demand, encapsulating my placenta. But we try and keep it like somewhat in the middle. We're not too extreme unless you think all of those things are extreme. And then maybe we're a little bit. If you're into any of those things, please subscribe. If you're not new here, welcome back. Please like the video. You can find me on Instagram, HEYSHAYLA. I have a podcast, HEYSHAYLA, where I interview people about all those things. I can't believe like people that say yes, and I have some really cool interviews there. Oh, and if you like this sweatshirt, Grow Good Humans, National Parks vibe, HEYSHAYLA.com/shop. Today, I wanted to make this video. If you are thinking about getting pregnant, or you are pregnant with two, and you're like, what's it gonna be like? And you just are a little bit anxious about it, a little bit nervous about it, a little bit not really sure what to expect. That's how I was. I was like, how am I gonna do this? I wanna do this, so I'm going to do this, but how am I gonna do it? My kids are, one is like almost 1 and the other one's almost 3. Almost exactly 24 months apart. Their like birthdays are a week apart. When I was pregnant with 2, I was asking all of my friends with 2, what was harder? 0 to 1 or 1 to 2? What was harder? What was harder? Putting polls out on my Instagram, I was just asking everybody, and it's an individual experience for everybody. I have a friend who's like, 2 was definitely harder for me. For me, 1 was harder. Going from 0 to 1, so hard for me, because I went from like carefree Shay, and I was just like, cool, yeah, let's add a baby. Not the case. Adding a baby was a lot of responsibility. A lot of, and during COVID, it was just gnarly. Like, I'm imagining sending this to Shayla a year ago, who was 2 months away from her due date with the toddler, sobbing with the husband, just going, oh, there's gonna be 2 soon. What am I gonna do? Because it was like an overwhelming day. And then the next day you're like, no, I'm super excited to have 2. Motherhood, you know? Another thing that people talk about is that they're not gonna feel love for 2. Like, they don't understand how their love could possibly expand. Please don't even think twice about that. Like, it will absolutely happen. And if you don't feel like the immediate connection to your second, it will come. It will be fine. Everything will be fine. It doesn't have, it doubles. I thought of like, I ended up having 7 things that I wish I had known going into it, so that I wouldn't have worried so much. And all of these are just my experience. So you might have a completely different experience, but the overarching theme of this video, I hope makes you feel better, okay? So we're gonna start with number 1, which is sleep. If you watch any of my content, you know that sleep is my number 1 like anxiety producing trigger. Like, when my children don't take their naps, I don't know why. I don't know why. How am I gonna get 2 children to nap during the day? How am I gonna get 2 children to go to sleep at night? What does bedtime with 2 kids look like? And then my husband started working goofy hours, so sometimes I'm doing like bath time, bedtime by myself, and I'm like, can people do that? How do people do that? And then how do you get them to sleep when you're outnumbered like that? I have a video that will be coming on our sleep situation with co-sleeping with 2, and then just like that, like solo parenting nighttime with 2 kids. I would have her in the carrier like 24/7. She was my uniform. She just stayed in the carrier. She got the smell of me, the rock of me, the heartbeats of me, and she was just happy. I was hands-free while holding a happy baby, and my toddler was happy because I could make eye contact with her. I could do things with her. The baby was just like chilling for like 4 months. She just lived right here. I used the Secure Bloom carrier. Baby's happy, you're hands-free, toddler's happy, done. Then around 4 months, I started transitioning her to naps in the floor bed because she was getting heavier and my back was starting to hurt. So I would lay down with her on the floor bed. I've got a couple of videos on floor beds. Nurse her to sleep and then just roll away, and she would sleep in the bed until she woke up. So this is like the day nap thing. Around the same time, my toddler decided she didn't want to take naps anymore. I would try and lay down with her and she just wanted to get up. She does take naps at daycare. And she does take naps in the car in the afternoon if we drive somewhere. She probably needs a nap, but she won't take it unless she's sick, and then I know that she's sick. What do I do while I'm putting baby down and toddler is awake? TV. It's like a treat. Like, we go the morning without TV, and I'm like, okay, it's time to put Ezzy down. What show do you want to watch? She's like, I want to watch it. Then I go in, put the baby down, and then I come back out, and then we try and do something. Not foolproof. I have absolutely had the toddler banging on the door while I'm trying to put the baby down, and the baby wakes up and the toddler ruins the nap. So when you're transitioning to any of these things, please have some grace with yourself. It's not going to work every time. If you have like a 75% success rate, take it as a win. If your toddler doesn't get as much sleep as they should one day, it's fine. They'll make up for it in other ways another day, at daycare, when you drive somewhere. They will sleep if they need to sleep. I really had to let sleep go, otherwise I was gonna go absolutely insane. Some people have specific toys for the toddler when the baby's nursing and going down, so they get to come in the room, play with the toys. I have a friend who put a monitor in the living room so that she could watch the toddler while she was putting the baby to sleep. I thought that was genius. All right, the rest of them are a little faster. Number 2, every baby is different. People told me this all the time. Oh, every baby's different. Like, how different can they be? They're different. It's so weird. My first was like smiley, and she would just smile at everything. She didn't really care much about anything. People would like take something from her and she'd just go do something else and just like super chill and whatever. And she's my personality. She's very big personality, outgoing, very friendly, very whatever. My second, very observant. Not that she's not friendly, because once she gets to know you, huge smile, very happy baby, the chillest. She's so chill. She like just doesn't care about anything, like nothing. She could have a 5-hour wake window and she's still, if she's just on me, she's like, yeah, I'm good, oh, whatever. She just is so chill, but she just observes everything. And so she just watches. So like you first meet her, they'll be like, hi baby, and she's just, spend like 45 minutes with her, she'll smile at you. Everything's just been a little different because they're their own personalities. And I think my next tip is your mothering will be differently. So everyone's like, oh, you treat them differently. I'm like, I'm not going to treat them differently. Like, I put so much intention into my first one. I learned so many things. I'm going to do the same for my second. And for the most part, I do. Like I said, I can't sit and try and get my second to sleep for an hour when my first is out in the living room. It's not going to happen. So you don't get as much time. I was seeing a therapist during my pregnancy, and she's like, your second will cry more. And I was like, she won't. She won't cry more. I don't let my babies cry. She cries more. She definitely cries more, because sometimes I literally cannot get to her. And someone said, go to the one that will remember. And neither one of them will remember right now. But I usually go to Aaliyah if I know that the baby is like safe and that I'm only going to be like 5 minutes or something. But if they both are like in dire need, I have to go potty. Okay, we're gonna go potty. Mom, I'm hungry. Just a minute, I need to put Ezzy down. Different things like that. And so my second does cry more. And when she's sleeping and she wakes up, I let her like fuss around for a little bit just to see if she'll go back to sleep. Rarely does she, but like when my first woke up, I was like, okay, you're awake. Boop, got her out. I probably woke her up more times than I should have, because sometimes as you'll wake up, kind of cry, fall back asleep. I never let my first do that. Like, my first never cried. Here's another thing that a lot of people I feel like don't talk about is when you get pregnant with your second, anything that went wrong with your first, you begin to dread. Did you have a terrible pregnancy? You're like, oh my God, we're gonna do it again. Did you have a terrible labor and delivery? You start to like panic about some of the traumas that you may have experienced. I had a good delivery, and then I started to panic that my second one will be worse. Like, it can go any way, either way. Like, everything, you're just constantly comparing like your first and your second, and like, this one really well, is it gonna be good this time? This one went terribly, is it gonna be worse this time or better? I don't know. My postpartum was so, it was just so intense. And so I was very diligent to prepare for postpartum this time, because I had no idea that that was a thing. So I rested more. I encapsulated my placenta for my hormones. I made sure that I had food prepped, or we got on a food service plan, which we did for both of them because we're both not good at preparing food. And I needed to make sure I was eating well postpartum. So I would say, don't stress about it. Easier said than done. Prep, be ready for it, and then let it go. Mama mantras are like things that I've come to love lately. So like, I can handle what comes my way is a good one. So when you start to like panic about it and you're like, what if it's worse? I can handle what comes my way, or we can handle what comes our way, as far as you and your partner. We can handle it, we can handle it, we can handle it. Lately mine has been be here now. So like when I'm just so overwhelmed and I'm going to my phone to like try and escape a little bit, I put it all away and I just go be here now. And like the tension just dissolves. It's kind of wild. And like all the to-dos don't feel so heavy. It's just be here now, and look at the little features on your kids' faces. Think about how you feel, the sunlight coming in or not, or the raindrops on the windows. Just start to like really be here now, like be present in your space. So anything that happened in the first one will be a totally different experience this time, good or bad. And you can handle what comes your way. Figure out your mantra. I just interviewed mama psychologists, and they said come up with a postpartum care plan, because when you're postpartum and you're like having some baby blues or depression or anxiety or whatever, the act of reaching out for help feels more daunting than just like dealing with these horrible feelings, right? So write down a couple of friends that you can call, a doctor, write down a lactation consultant if you're doing that. So the second time, it's easier because you have more experience in this, but it's harder because there are two. Thing number 5, you will likely experience more illness with your second child. With my first, it was COVID, we were in lockdown. Girl did not have a runny nose until she was like 18 months old. My second one, at 3 weeks, the toddler had COVID and she had bronchiolitis. If my first had been exposed to COVID, three weeks old, I would have probably went into a mental breakdown. But the toddlers in daycare are just like exposed to more things. It's still building their immune system, so they just get sick more. Thing number 6, prep your toddler. A couple things here. Some people get their toddler a baby, like a toy baby to play with, be gentle with, just to practice with. I got ours a book, and we read a book about how a baby was coming, and this is coming, and there's a baby in mom's stomach. And I think that helped a lot. I think the carrier helped a lot, so that like I said, baby was happy, mommy was hands-free, and toddler had my attention. Do not blame baby. Mom, play with me. Oh, no, I can't. I have to go put Ezzy down. If you have to say something like that, which obviously you do, say, okay, yeah, I will play with you. I'm gonna go put Ezzy down first and then I'll come out and play. It's a yes. And they're like, okay, I don't resent this baby. I'm okay because I know that you're gonna come play with me. Those were like the big ones for me. And talking to the baby, which sounds so silly, but like even when Ezzy was like 3 weeks old, I'd be like, Ezzy, that's not for you, that's Aaliyah's. And it just allows Aaliyah to hear like, oh, okay, mom's got my back. And that has helped, and I still do it for a lot of things. Final thing, you are capable of doing this. How? Because we just are capable of doing hard things. You are already set up for 2. You're already in like mom mode, family mode. Your life is set up for it. Maybe you have daycare, maybe you have different things are figured out that you didn't have figured out the first time. There are 2 kids, so it's harder, but they adapt and adjust. And I promise you've got this. So do your absolute best to not try and stress about these things until they actually happen and you actually need to like stress about it. I hope this was helpful. You're gonna be great. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.